Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast with your host, Lorna Poole, sharing the secrets to creating wealth, investing, and that all-important money mindset. To find out more and accelerate your journey to financial freedom, head on over to www.lornapoole.com to get started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast. Focus on profit first in your business. Why is this important? With me today is Lalvani. He's an MBA enrolled agent IRS. He is the millionaire next door. He started out with basically nothing, as his parents emigrated to the United States when he was just 2 years old and his dad was only 42. It was their second big move in life, and they were starting over again to create the American dream. In spite of a lot of struggles, Rocky's mum passed away when he was just 7. He's been able to achieve financial success. Rocky achieved financial success by automating his savings, spending less than he earns, negotiating everything, and reducing risk. He has multiple income streams from W-2 wages, side business, and real estate ventures. His focus is helping other people put profit first so they can enjoy the life of their dreams. Rocky, great to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here. Wonderful honor. Thank you so much for having me.
And I love when a guest of mine comes on and they share their personal story. And I would love to hear where you moved from to end up in the USA.
So my parents moved from India.
Yes.
And then we landed in on the East Coast in New Jersey.
Yes, wow. And you built up a successful life, right?
I have. I built a successful life. It wasn't a get-rich-quick scheme, which most of the time does not get you rich quickly. And a lot of people who do get rich quickly also get poor very quickly because they take massive risk to be able to do that. But it was done just one step at a time, and over time, things compound. And when you focus on the number and you have those types of goals, then they are achievable. And I think anyone can do it, and everyone's got their own path to that goal, and that's up to you to figure it out.
I love that. I love that you shared anyone can do it, because I think that's important. And I want to go back to, how I opened this conversation. Why is profit first so important?
So let's face facts. Who's going to care more about your money than you do? And the reality is no one. Everyone else cares about themselves and their money. And if you're not looking at setting aside your profit for yourself, no one else is going to do that for you. The other thing is, I think a lot of business owners are always constantly reinvesting in their business or waiting till tomorrow. And the reality is life changes quite a bit. A lot of businesses that were around in the past have now become obsolete, and the rate of change is faster and faster. And if you're not on your own putting your profit first and putting it aside from your business, then you run a tremendous risk. If your business goes away or if something happens and you haven't set that aside, you're kind of nowhere. And the purpose of business is to make a profit. So set it aside.
I think that's a huge aha, because I know from myself, most people, they want to have a business, they pump everything into it, and if it fails or it doesn't work out, they've nothing.
That's correct. And most businesses unfortunately fail, especially in the first couple of years. And that's just because it takes time to get going. And a lot of people either aren't willing to put the time in other words, kind of go through the dip and the hard part, or they don't have enough cash flow to get through the struggle time in the beginning. And if you've got profit first, then you've got piles of money that will push you through those periods and allow you long-term success.
So what do we say to the person that's listening today? They have a business, it's not making a profit. What actions could they be taking that if they did this sort of practice regularly, they could turn it around, or maybe they should be putting away a certain percentage? What should they be doing?
So if you're running a business today and it's not making a profit, you've got to ask yourself why. The first thing is, are you even focusing on the numbers of the business, or are you focusing on what you love in the business? And those are two very different things. If you're focusing on what you love to do in the business and you're not looking at the numbers, that may be the reason you're not making a profit. Some businesses are highly competitive. If you're in a highly competitive area, there may not be enough room for you to make a profit. And then you have to decide, is this worth continuing, or should I find a different niche or a different type of business that allows me to create that bigger profit? So it starts basically with your cash flow statements, your profit and loss. Look at your numbers, understand what's coming in. And so understanding what's coming in, are we appropriately priced with our products? Can we get a higher premium for our products? I think a lot of people starting off in business especially are afraid to charge what the true value is. And the funny thing is, customers actually look at underpriced things and go, that must not have much value, and walk away from you. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. You've got to have appropriate pricing and see how much you can drive revenue up. And then the other thing is your costs. You have to be focused on what's going out the door. And is that appropriate, or are you overspending, or do you have certain products or offerings that aren't profitable and certain ones that are very profitable? Then you just have to shift your focus and attention to where the profit is. And then the idea is to make the gap between what's coming in and what's going out as big as possible. And you're running a business for profit, focus on that. Be intentional in looking at those numbers and tracking everything in and out.
I love that you share that, because, on my journey, I would have worked with a lot of coaches, and I felt that they spend more time on branding and, knowing your message and all that. That won't make you money. Because if you focus on money, you will upgrade that naturally as the profit comes, right?
Yes, you will. You need to focus on, at the end of the day, you're here to make the sale. So you also have to learn sales, because if you don't know how to sell, it's going to be very hard for you to sell your business.
Yeah,
your products, in a sense, whatever it is that your business sells.
And what about, okay, I'm going to go back into numbers later, but sales and marketing, right? They say marketing, if your marketing's good enough, you'll sell. I know there's a person, every individuals also need the gift of how to sell. Marketing is a big part of it too, right?
Marketing is a big part of it, but I think you need to be in alignment. In other words, I've seen businesses and events, their marketing is phenomenal, but what they're selling isn't. And that's not going to lead to long-term success, because over time, people will figure out you're not all that and your business is not all that. You need to be congruent with your marketing, and you need to be able to deliver on what it is you say you can do.
Yeah, delivering on the promise. Okay. Numbers. Okay. When you talk about we need to know our numbers, and we're looking at our profit and loss and cash flow and all that stuff, are we looking at these constantly?
So I guess we need to define constantly, right?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the business and how it runs. So on a daily basis, depending on your business, you might look at your revenue for the day and record your revenue for the day. And depending on the type of business, you might want to compare that. So if you're in a seasonal business, how does today compare to a year ago today?
Yeah.
And then again, you look at it on a weekly basis, and that is to make sure, all your cash flows coming in, what you have going out, and you're watching that weekly cash flow. And again, this is a granular level, but then I think on a monthly basis, you need to look at the bigger picture of what's going on. And so on a monthly basis, you're looking at big picture. On a daily basis, you're glimpsing maybe at sales. On a weekly basis, you're more granular into what's coming and going. Here's the thing, though. A lot of people in business hate their numbers. They're afraid of them, or they don't want to look at them. So if that's the case, it's okay. What you need to do is create systems to track all these things. And if your business is successful enough that you can have somebody in your business who maybe does the nitty-gritty of the numbers, that's fine. But always be aware. You have to watch out because unfortunately people do steal. And so if you're going to let someone else kind of run your numbers, you still have to have signature authority on the checkbook. Nobody else. You're the one who's ultimately signing the checks going out. You don't turn over too much authority because you don't want someone to make mistakes. Or it's very hard to trust somebody and know that they're doing it in your best interest. So figure out.
Would you recommend educating yourself?
Well, yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, you must know what's going on. And then you can systematize it and you can have other people do parts of it, but you still always need to verify and trust everything, which means you're looking at the bank statements to say, yeah, that's all the money that went out. Yes, that all looks correct, so that nothing goes kind of awry in that situation.
And I'm going to skip here for a little bit. When I was introducing you, you were talking about automating your savings, spending less, and negotiating everything and reducing risk. Now, for financial freedom, that's massive, right? So tell me a little more about this.
So, if your business is now humming along and it's making a profit, then you can automatically every month or on a regular basis, just have money swiped out of your regular account into a separate profit account. And I don't know how many of your listeners they may not be in business or they've got a job. It's pulling money out of your account and putting it into a separate account on an automatic basis. And the banks all these banks and these brokerage accounts will do that automatically for you. They will, on a set date, take X money, X dollars, and set it aside for you. So that's kind of how you automate it.
And does that come back to the rule of pay yourself first?
That comes back to the rule of pay yourself first, because no one else is going to be more interested in your money than you are. And if you're not paying yourself first, then it seems like you're paying someone else first. And that's not going to give you wealth. That's going to give them wealth. And that's what they want.
And I think for people as well the government does that. They just take your money. And if you get into the mindset of paying yourself first, you don't really miss it. It's just, it's done first thing before everything else, right?
Absolutely. Because we get into lifestyle creep and we get into even within businesses. If you're running a business and you see all this cash in your account, then you're like, oh, I can afford a new piece of equipment. I can do this. I can do that. And that may or may not be the case. But if you're constantly setting aside that profit, if something happens within your business that it becomes obsolete, you get sick. And I mean, there's a million things that can happen, right? We go into a recession. Even if the business fails, you've got a separate profit account that's yours, that's always there for you, that will take you through the rough times. And there's always going to be rough times.
And what if somebody's breaking even? Should they start that anyway?
So if you're breaking even, then I think you need to say, focus on your numbers and say, what's the problem? Why am I breaking even? Am I not charging enough? Do I not have enough customers? How do I increase my revenue? And then on the spending side, how do I decrease my costs? Can I negotiate a better lease? Can I get a lower cost on some of the whatever I'm using as products within my business? Are there areas that I'm leaking money? Is my business paying for things that they don't even use or that don't bring much value? Can you get rid of that?
Love that. So automate my savings. What do you mean by spending less?
Spending, in other words, be intentional with your spending. I think, if things are going well, we tend not to worry. And things just start creeping up. And, a lot of other companies may raise the rates for you. So your insurance may go up. This may go up on a utility bill, or a supplier may raise their prices. You've got to keep watching that and being intentional to say, is this spending bringing value to the business? And is it bringing more value than it costs?
I love that you shared that, because it's like what you were saying earlier about when things are sunny and the sun's shining, we let our costs creep up and we think, oh, I need that extra thing for my business. And then it might catch us out later on down the line.
Or, sometimes as a business owner, somebody may come along to you and sell you whatever products they're selling. And you might think, oh, that's nice. And you get involved in something, and then you find out later you're not using it, or it's not bringing you the value. And so you need to be able to cut those things off and cut your losses, so to speak, on them.
Love it. And what about reducing risk? What do you mean by that?
So reducing risk is everything in life has risks, right? We walk down the street, it's a risk. We drive a car, we have a risk of an accident. What are the risks in your life and in your business? So, for example, there's the general risks of liability of, if you have a storefront and somebody falls in your building, what can you do to reduce the risks? Keeping an area more bright, more visible, uncluttered. Debt is a massive risk. And I think that's the one that gets a lot of people. If you start, just because the bank will lend you money doesn't mean you can afford it or that it makes sense. And so one of the biggest risks in business is debt, because debt will strangle you at the end. So if you can run on a straight cash basis and never have to go into debt, that reduces risk tremendously. If you're in business with other people, what are the risks there? If your business partner dies, how do you set up the risk of dealing with that situation? So there's just every part of your business and every part of your life. What are the different things that could go wrong here? And what can I do without spending a ton of money? Because you don't want to spend all this money to avoid risk, because then it makes it very hard to make a profit. But are there steps I can take, or are there things I can do to, in every area, reduce the risk that I have to deal with?
Yeah, I when I lived in the USA, I had a friend and she had started her business on her credit card, and they were in big trouble. Like, when you think, isn't that crazy?
And people do it all the time. I think that's the problem. In the short run, we overestimate what we can do in the short run. We underestimate what we can do in the long run. And credit cards are short-term debt. And unfortunately, you hope to bring in sales, but if you don't, then you get into kind of that whole, you get stuck in that thing where all of a sudden you've got a lot of anxiety because you've got this debt. It's coming due quickly. You start to do things just to make a buck in the moment that aren't going to help you long term, and that may even put you in more of a problem over time. And so you have to be very careful with that.
So you're talking about long-term perspective.
Well, you have to have a long-term perspective, yes. And I mean, we're living life. It is a journey. We all have so much time, and you should look at what you're doing over time and how is today fit into that bigger picture, and how does this year and what I'm doing this year fit into that bigger picture. And you can do amazing things over 3, 5, and 10 years by taking little teeny tiny baby steps every day. And that's the important thing, is just these little teeny tiny steps, whether it be with money, whether it be with improving yourself, learning a new skill. Think about it. If you can pick up just one new customer a week, over 52 weeks, it's 52 customers, and then over 5 years, that's 250 customers. So it's little things constantly. And over time, tremendous success is possible.
I love that. I love that you talked about the consistency of taking it at baby steps, because I think, even my own journey that, in my first business, I thought it would happen in 10 minutes, and you get this sort of, it's the short-term perspective, and it's baby steps, and it's what you say, like, just keep putting yourself out there, and it's one step after another, and that's what compounds, and that's what makes it consistent, and And that's what makes it happen, right?
It is. And actually, when you look at most overnight successes have 10 years of hard work behind them that you never saw.
Yeah.
And that's what you've got to do, is that 10 years of hard work and continuing forward. And then all of a sudden you're an overnight success.
I have one quick question before we wrap it up. So I've automated my savings, right? I've put away my profit. How do I lead this to financial freedom?
I'm not sure I understand the question. How does that?
So where am I investing my profits?
Where are you investing your profits? So I think that really depends on you as a person. What type of investments are best suited to you? What are you looking to accomplish with that money? What skills do you have? So for one person, it might be just as simple as investing it in the stock market. For another person, it might be investing in real estate. For a third person, it might be investing in other businesses that you could help and, help improve and grow. And that might be synergistic to your business as well. So I think that's part of sitting down, that big picture thing on a monthly or yearly basis to say, what are my skills and where can I best have my profit grow in a way that's most suitable to how I work and what's suitable for me? I don't think there's one right answer for anyone. I think you have to figure it out for yourself.
Love that, Rocky. Rocky, this has been amazing. And just to wrap it up, what's that one thing for anyone listening today? They want to really catapult the profit in their business. What would you say to them?
I think for everyone, you have to focus on your numbers or it's not going to go anywhere for you. And that's your cash flow statement and your profit and loss and your balance sheet. Whether you like it or not, you've got to focus on the numbers if you expect to have financial success. And that's just the bottom line.
I love that. I've really enjoyed this conversation. Rocky, how do we find out more about you?
So you can find me at Richer Soul. It's richersoul.com. I talk there. I have a podcast and we talk about kind of life beyond money. After your business is successful and you've got wealth, you're going to wake up one day and go, there's more to life than just this. And that's a lot of what we talk about, is all the other parts of life and how to bring balance and keep everything in line. Because running a business is hard, and you still also need to make sure you look after your health, watch your time, build your relationships, have some sort of spirituality, and bring balance to it all.
I love that. Yes, because we get so focused on our business, we forget to live sometimes, right?
Absolutely. And it's that journey where life happens.
Thank you, Rocky. This has been amazing.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here today.
Hey, everyone. Remember to join us in the Private Financial Freedom Podcast Facebook group with me, your host, Lorna Poole. This is a safe haven of like-minded wealth-getting go-getters who, like you, are on their journey to creating financial freedom in their life. This is where you and I can get intimate. I can give you the support and guidance to go from where you are now to where you want to be, developing your wealth mindset and creating your financial freedom life. Join at www.facebook.com/groups The Financial Freedom Podcast. You will see the links to this on the website. It's in the show notes, or type it into the Facebook group. All you have to type in is Financial Freedom Podcast and you will see us there. Look forward to seeing you in the group. Take care. Thank you for joining us on the Financial Freedom Podcast to creating wealth, investing, and developing your money mindset. To get started today on your journey, head on over to www.lornapoole.com and grab your free course, 5 Steps to Breaking Free from Your Poverty Mindset and Accelerating Your Journey to Financial Freedom. See you there.